All right, USTA season is right around the corner. We got a lot of doubles play coming up on the men's and women's side. So I wanted to specifically talk about in this video why you shouldn't be overcovering it down the line. I pulled up a video here of a 4-0 USTA match, and I want to highlight on a bunch of these clips that I've pulled out of some situations where we have a player that's way too far out of the middle. He's overcovering the down the line, and then later on the contrary, I'm going to show you some clips of another player who's actually positioned quite well and how that changes the dynamic of the point. To start with, this gentleman right here in the blue, you can see he's, in my opinion, he's a bit too far to the left. If I was coaching him, I'd like to have him start more in the middle of the box. The reason being is that this is going to allow him more opportunities to move across with less distance to cover in order to poach any returns that may be traveling over the middle third of the net. In this first clip, you're going to see here when I roll it, the serve goes up the tee, and it's actually a pretty solid serve. It's high to this guy's backhand, tough to handle from that position. But you can see right away, he's way too far to the left. Okay, he should be already more towards the middle of the box so that he can move across and cut this ball off. But instead, you're going to see what happens. He loses the opportunity to make a play on this. Right. So there it is. The ball's right through the middle of the court. Instead of him being able to cut that off, try and finish the point, not only is the ball in the middle, but it's also high. So this gives him an even better opportunity to end the point. But instead, the server's got to come in and make a low volley play on this, which is obviously going to be lower percentage for this team here to eventually execute that point. Next clip, we're going to play this here. Similar situation. Skip ahead here. There we go. Similar situation. Serve goes up the tee. And again, too far to the left. He's got the right idea. So I actually like what he's doing. He's reading the ball that goes up the tee. And you can see he's pushing off the outside leg to then move to the middle to cut this off. So conceptually, he understands what's going on. However, positionally, he's taken himself out of the play. He should be lined up right here. Okay, if he were to do that, he'd be able to, in my opinion, probably cut this off. But instead, he started too far to the left. He's overcommitting to the alley return. So you'll see what happens here. Does not make a play on this. And if I kick it back again, all right, you can see I'll try and pause it right as the ball crosses the net. There we go. Okay, again, ball is moving right through the middle of the court. This is a play that he's going to want to try and make time and time again to end that point. Okay, he does not want this situation going back to the server. The server's obviously in a less advantageous position. He's much deeper. Also, too, you can see the distance between him and the net, so the returner would have more time to dip this to his feet, making it for a more difficult volley as well. Okay, third clip, same situation. Again, way too far to the left, in my opinion. He's got to be moving, not even moving, but starting more towards the middle of the court so that he could move and cover more ground to the middle here. So let's see what happens. Again, solid serve, up the tee a bit, kind of even jams the returner. This is not an easy return, okay? And you can see where he is, okay? Too far to the left. I'm not sure why he's so concerned with the alley at this point. You know, of course, the returner could pull this and go down the line, all right? But again, if we're playing percentages, he is much less likely to hit a winner up the line from this position, okay, as well as the speed of this guy's serve. So he should certainly be much more to the middle of the court. Again, he's got the right idea. He's moving to the middle of the court. He reads that it's a tough serve down the tee, so he's moving that way. But given the space that he has to cover in the amount of time, he's just not going to be able to get there. So he's got to start positioning himself more to the middle of the box at the start of the serve so that he can start getting more involved with poaching these returns. Okay, on the contrary, we're going to flip it here. So this gentleman in the red, I actually much prefer how he's lining up prior to the serve. So you can see he's not nearly as far over to the alley as the other guy was. And this is, you're going to see over the next 2 to 3 points, how this allows him to get more involved with poaching the ball and cutting it off. He just simply has to be, based on where he's starting, he doesn't have to cover as much court in order to cut any returns that are going across the middle of the court off. All right, so let me give this a play here, give this a roll. Okay, so right away, decent serve, actually goes a bit wider. He holds his ground, all right, and he's able to move underneath it and cut it off. There you go. And I also like what he did with the volley, right? He found the net player's feet to kind of put him in a defensive, you can see here, is in a bit more of a defensive situation. This is going to allow them to take better control of the point. Okay, again, another situation. I like where he's positioned here. He's not overcommitting to the alley. He's positioned himself strategically so that if the return were to go up the line, within a stretch and reach, he's got 85–90% of that covered, okay? But also at the same time, he's in a perfect position to be able to make a play on a ball on a return that would go through the middle of the court here. Okay, and then again, although he's stretched out, this is definitely a ball that he should be taking instead of letting it go by him and going back to the server. He still has the advantage even though he's stretched out. And you're going to see here when I roll it, he does a nice job of finding the net player's feet to kind of put him in a more defensive position. And there you go. Okay, lastly, I pulled this one up, a slightly different situation. So I like what he does here. The server hits a pretty solid serve that goes out wide. Now, a lot of players, what they're going to do is they're going to see the ball moving that far wide, and they're going to really slide over to make sure the alley is covered. Now, again, we know that the majority of the time the ball is going cross court. It's going through the middle third of the court. So again, if we're playing percentages, all right, I like what he does with his positioning. The serve, although the serve goes wide, he doesn't overcommit to the alley. What he does, instead of moving to the middle, all right, he holds his ground. If he were to move to the middle, that would not be a good idea. Obviously, that leaves the alley wide open. However, he holds his ground, so that way, if the return were to go down the line here, okay, he still has a play on that within a stretch and a reach. If the ball goes cross court here, again, he still has a play. If he moves on a diagonal, he's got a play, an even better play to cut that off and look to so that he can look to finish the point. So you'll see what happens when he when we roll this out. Okay, there you go. So the serve goes wide. He holds his ground, all right, and then he's able to make another nice play moving across the middle once he sees it's not the best return. He recognizes it's not the best return. The ball is moving towards the middle, and he's able to cut it off and put the other team on defense right away. So you can see just by slightly adjusting your positioning, not overcovering the down the line, how much that could actually affect your ability to be more offensive and cut the ball off. Any balls that are through the middle of the court, cut them off so you can look to finish the point. Okay? So hopefully that helps. Give it a try. If you have any questions, feedback, I'd love to hear from everybody. And then, of course, feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you subscribe so that way you're in the loop with more videos to come. All right, thanks, everybody.